Hello, this is video blog 2. I'm just going to take us through some of the recent and historical pieces of literature that relates to our topic. And I will be putting this into the context of my own journey in this PhD so far, and also within the context of what I plan to do going forward. So, one of the original concepts that I was introduced to was the concept of sustainable development, and this was during my master's, but really the concept has its roots in 1987, the World Council of Economic Development, and became prominent in management in 1995 with the publication of an article by Gladwin, Cannelly and Krauss in the Academy of Management Review entitled Shifting Paradigms for Sustainable Development. To date, that has 2,443 citations on Google Scholar. This over here, what you can see is some of my more recent musings. Before I rub it off, I would like to just tell you a little bit about it. And what I want to say is, up here you've got the CEOs of companies, and down below here you've got what is going on the ground within an organization. So up here, the formulation of strategy takes place, and down there, normally you would think the implementation takes place. However, when we look at the different types of prescriptions that are out there for management and organizations, we find that centralized versus distributed, certainty versus uncertainty, simplicity versus complexity, analysis versus synthesis, institutionalization versus innovation are these opposing schools of thought that somehow constitute the composition which is our global economy. And when you consider the movement of these hybrid entities through time, and this is where this graph becomes important, this curve becomes important, because you realize that here we are right now in the immediate future, and at any moment could there be a disturbance. We, after all, live in what has been termed as global risk society. And after this disturbance, what happens next is not so obvious. And two places which seem similar could respond very differently depending on those adaptive capacities that aren't always measured within organizations. But somehow, because they are resilient, they tend to linger as sometimes annoying bits of diversity here and there. And so, the near future has economical, ecological, and social elements just as the imagined future has. And the imagined future, which is present in the immediate future, which is the present moment, is the immediate future. It's the always unfolding immediate future is the present moment. In this present moment, there is this entanglement of the imagined future. And this somehow is a part of the resilience that helps a particular system, like an individual with his mental and physical and emotional subsystems, or whether it's a family with each member, or whether it's a community, an organization, a society, or a nation. I tend not to talk about national systems because they tend to be highly fictitious. Regional systems tend to be more concrete. And so this is obviously one of the pieces in the puzzle. And we have here an article by Christensen et al. 1982 called Business Policy, which basically is one of the seminal pieces, which actually takes a very different view, which is a very kind of centralized view, as opposed to the view that it's about distributed innovation that also starts from consumers, not just from businesses. And some of these other concepts then that we should talk to before the end of this vlog: Journal of Business Ethics, Non-Human Nature, Level Issues in 1994, published in the Academic of Management Review, got 1911. So this is more of a methodological and a theoretical paper and topic. It's not really related to the context or the ecological part of the research. It's more related to the methodological and the theoretical, the theory method fit part of the research. Integrative Social Contract, Donaldson and Dunphy, 1994, has 2,087 citations. Funtowicz and Ravetz has 905 citations. Post-Normal Science. Another one by them, published in Futures in 1993, also with the construct of post-normal science, has 4,400 citations. And post-normal science is just another way of saying that we're not in a kind of a status quo moment. And so that started up around that time of 1995. Ecological Sustainability, Starek and Rance, that 1,043 citations. But perhaps something else was starting up in those days, and this is, a different kind of part of the management literature, which is not all A star like Academy of Management Review, but other journals. And these are like Journal of Asia Pacific and Research and Technology Management. So a little bit different audience to the Academy of Management Review. So these are different places, and also different kinds of lenses on management and innovation and ecology and such things. And also this also reflects my focus shifting as well as we were moving through the PhD. So I started looking into this a few years after the beginning, and actually some of these ones that I mentioned earlier, even though I had looked at them for my master's, some of them, they didn't really strike me immediately as the ones. And there's one I forgot to mention here, which is Ecological Embeddedness 2000, which is also, I think, Academy of Management Review. It was an ethnography, and I believe even an autoethnography, or maybe just an ethnography. And the author published another one on the same data like 13 years later as well. So I should include that. That was recommended to me by Dan Tish. But this is a good example of the different ways in which these kinds of concepts have come about in different places. And ones I was just mentioning is things like frugal innovation or jugaad innovation, reverse innovation, and also shared value, which is a little bit different to the previous two, but it comes from Porter and Kramer. Porter is the value chain person who coined that concept. And Misery Loves Companies by Margolis and Walsh, got 5,115 citations. So I think one of the cameras has gone, so that's probably an indication that I should be summing up now. BOP Innovation and Diffusion. So Diffusion of Innovation by Rogers and Shoemaker 1971 has 8,383 citations alone. So that has almost as many citations as half of these put together. The bottom half, or even more than that. So I mean, just 2 articles would have more citations than the rest put together. So Margolis and Walsh, 2003, Misery Loves Companies, published in the Administrative Science Quarterly, A-star journal. And Rogers and Shoemaker, 1971, Diffusion. I know they are old pieces. I mean, one of them is old. And if we take a few others, like Gladwin et al., 2,400 citations, Sustainable Development, and a few others like Starrick and Rance, like the top 5 of these for us would give us like more citations than the rest of them put together. So I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot of gold here. Some of it is hidden, some of it has been unnoticed, but I think that my PhD is kind of synthesizing a lot of this work that has gone on. In particular, the focus is on resilience and innovation. So yes, we've had eco-innovation, we've had sustainability-oriented innovation, we've had frugal innovation, and now really the need of the hour is to put these together somehow. So thank you for watching, and we'll look forward to the 3rd vlog soon.